Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is episode 817 of the Immigration Answer Show. Today is April 23rd, Wednesday, hump day. How's everybody doing? What's going on? Got TikTok on over there. I got my Andor sweatshirt on. Has anybody watched Andor yet? I'm excited to watch it this weekend. What's going on in your neck of the woods? Let's see who's here. Jas is here. Kelly Louise says hello. Tyrone. Roy in Schenectady is here. Princess Jada. Erica Nelson. Hello. JJ. Vivi Chu. Swanky City Nails and Aesthetics Cower and Sing. How about that? Buongiorno. We don't get many buongiornos around here, but we love it. All right. So I'll be here for the next hour. Raphael's here. Ivory is here. Nishad got their combo card approved. How about that? Lynn is checking in from St. Louis, and we got Shivam. And Carolyn Lindsay is on her way to Oklahoma, as she so often is. All right, so I'll be here for the next hour, like I said, trying to answer as many of your immigration law-related questions as we can. Remind me at the bottom of there's Rotimi. Hi, Rotimi. Remind me at the bottom of the hour to tell you guys about our day in court today. We had a good day in court today. Remember, we're off camera now. We're not on camera anymore, and we need you to change your names, just your first name on the check-in. I will try to take off the last names for the people. I'm going to go to GFW. Let me see, think of DFW. GFW, KM, and Alex. Oh, Alex took off their last name. Good job, Alex. All right, let's go to GFW. How about that?
Good afternoon, Jim. A fellow Yardie from
nice
going way back. And I am so thankful for what you do. I can repeat the same thing everybody's saying all over. God bless you, and may you continue.
Thanks. I love it.
I have to say, I'm a little nervous, and I'm not even sure I want to get into my issue online.
Okay.
So I am definitely going to call your office. I just hope that the signs are telling me to lead to you, because the main street your office is where I'm from.
Oh,
If that's a hint.
I gotcha.
And then
Why don't you just talk? Don't talk to us about your case. Talk to us about your friend's case in the hypothetical.
no, I think I'll get emotional about it.
Okay.
But I am definitely going to reach out. Reason being, your voice is so measured, you're straightforward, you don't hold back, but your tone is not judgmental or anything like that. So I will be reaching out, and I hope I can get matched with someone of your caliber.
Awesome.
I have a thing for you. When you talk about ideas to make up posts, maybe you've done it already, what to say or how to act if someone is stopped. I have a feeling a lot of these so-called ICE agents aren't really ICE.
Mm-hmm.
I get the feeling they're, it's a certain group, but they're masquerading as such. So that's a thought.
Nice. I like
what to say and how to act.
Yep.
I mean, I'm afraid to even, not afraid, but I avoid going out on the road,
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah,
I'd be happy to. I did one sort of when all the ICE stuff first hit, but it's probably something I need to do from time to time. So I'm happy to do that. I just wrote it down in my notebook.
Yeah. And again, I thank you, and I'll be reaching out. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to KM. That was a nice call. Hello, KM. Kim, are you there?
Hey, Jim.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing? Been following your show, and thanks for the immigration knowledge. At times, I feel I'm an immigration lawyer myself just from watching your show.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've got a question about a friend, right? So, I've got a friend that's in the U.S. right now, on a B1, B2 visa. He entered the U.S. on the 1st of January. Whilst he was there, he met a woman and fell in love. So they are thinking of getting married at the end of May. The woman that he found is a green card holder. So he wants to know what his options are, considering the current political climate. Should he either wait and go the adjustment of status route, or go the consulate route after getting married?
When did he enter? January?
Yeah, January. He entered on the 31st of December.
And they're married now?
No, they're getting married on the 30th of May.
So if he entered on the last day of 2024, that means he's got to leave by the end of June. This is right. April. He hasn't gotten married yet, but let's assume he got married. It's unlikely that his visa will become current and be able to apply for adjustment while he's still on his B1, B2 6 months, right?
Right.
So he's probably going to get married, file the I-130, and then leave and go back home in consular process.
Okay.
How did his spouse get their green card?
From her mother, through a parent.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So his spouse is scheduled to apply for naturalization in July 2026. Well,
that's probably when everything will get. I mean, filing the I-130s now is good because then that'll get approved around the time they're eligible to apply for citizenship. Yeah. Once they get their citizenship, they can upgrade it to the immediate relative spouse of a U.S. citizen, and then off you go.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jim. That'll be it.
Thanks, Cam. See you, buddy.
All right.
All right. Next, we go to Alex. Hello, Alex. Alex, you there? You're on mute. Go ahead, Alex. We can't hear you. Something's up with Alex's audio. We'll put him back in timeout, see if we can figure out his... let's go to JJ. Hi, JJ.
Hi, Jim. Good afternoon, and thank you for your time today.
You're welcome.
All right. I just had a couple of questions for you. I'm going to speak about Jack and Jill's case.
Jack and Jill?
Yes, indeed. Jill is a U.S. citizen, and Jack and Jill, they're both from the Caribbean. Jack was studying in Canada as an international student, He met Jill through his cousin, as they were friends before, and that was in August of 2022. Anyway, Jack and Jill's relationship progressed, and they've been doing long distance from August 2022, and they met in December of 2022. So Jill would fly to get Jack in Canada. Jack would fly back to the US and back and forth, and their relationship progressed, and they went to spend their life together and got married in June of 24. Jack and Jill got married in the US, where Jack entered the US on a B2 visa. They had their wedding, and he then left to go back to Canada as he was working and attending school there. Jack finished school, and they Jill filed the I-130 petition for Jack, as they intended to do consular processing.
Yeah.
Okay, so as time went on, situations and circumstances on Jack's end changed as he faced hardship in Canada, mainly financial hardship. And Jack was preparing to go back home to the Caribbean. So Jack packed up his bags, and before doing that, he visited Jill in the US, and he entered on a B2 in September of 2024. Jack and Jill reassessed the situation, and they decided to pursue adjustment of status. Jack and Jill filed the I-485, including the receipt notice of the
Yep.
previously filed I-130,
Yep.
and sent that in October of 2024. Currently, Jack is employment authorized, and they're just waiting for their case to be processed by USCIS. And I just wanted to ask, do you see any eligibility issues with Jack and Jill's case so far?
No, nothing so far. When did Jack enter last, and what was the date they filed the 45?
Yes, Jack entered on September 16th, 2024 on a B2, and the 45 was filed on October 22nd of 2024.
So that was done. They should have waited 60 days to file for adjustment.
Okay.
So they might get dinged for immigrant intent that he entered on a non-immigrant visa, but he had the intention of applying for adjustment. That's going to cause them problems.
Okay, understood. Would that be a problem? I think the intent was for him to go home and wait for consular there, but circumstances changed so much, and they decided to do that.
They changed between the time he landed in the United States and when they filed for adjustment?
Yes.
That's going to be a tough thing to prove. How are they going to prove that?
Jack did have a ticket home.
But that doesn't prove that he had a hardship and that had to change their plan.
Okay, understood.
You follow me?
Yes, indeed.
So this is going to be the central issue at the interview. They're going to have to figure out why didn't they just wait 60 days? The $1 million question will be, when he last entered the United States prior to filing for adjustment, did he have the intent of applying did he have immigrant intent? That's going to be, and by that point, an I-130 was already on file. So then the question becomes, what kind of conversations, if any, did he have with CBP when he entered? Like if he said, "Oh, I'm going to see my friend," but really he was going to see his wife, then that's another.
Oh yeah, he's always said, Jack's always said he's going to see his wife, and he's been to the U ever since they got married, and Jill filed for the I-130. He's entered the US.
Definitely some arguments in their favor. Obviously, he came many times before, so that part's good.
Yes.
And he didn't have an actual visa, right? He just came as a Canadian, right?
No, he's not a Canadian. He has a B2 visa.
Oh, so how long has he had the visa?
Oh, he's had let's see.
The current visa. The current
visa, he got it in 2022, and before that, he's had a 10-year ever since he was a kid. So that was his second visa.
Maybe not a big issue, but like I said, they just invited a little extra problem that they didn't need to have.
Okay, understood. Okay.
Thanks, JJ.
Thank you very much.
Bye, buddy. All right. We're taking questions over on TikTok. Let's see what Hina has for us. Moriah says, what's the processing time to reopen and close a withholding case in the court? So there is no processing time for that. Every court is different. Every judge is different. Every DHS attorney is different. I think the government attorneys are being told from higher up not to reopen and close a withholding case. I think they're being told to fight that. So there's no real set in stone way of knowing that. Favor, I came with B1 as a domestic staff. Can I get married to my fiance and change my status? Well, maybe. Need a lot more details, like when you entered, how long you've known the person, all that stuff. But in theory, that could work. Missy Cantrell Rodriguez, is it a good idea to get a full immigration record FOIA and FBI FOIA for my husband? Generally, I think that's always a good idea. Sonny, I have a green card for 9 years. Most time I'm outside the United States. Can I still get U.S. citizenship? So, Sonny, on the day that you apply for citizenship, you will have to ask, the government will ask, has she been a green card holder for 5 years or 3 years? And of that time, has Sonny spent at least half the time in the United States? If the answer is no, then you can't naturalize. If you've had any trips more than 6 months, then it's going to be hard to naturalize. So remember, the green card is permanent residence. So if you haven't been using it as permanent residence, but rather just a way to get in and out of the country, that N400 is probably going to be denied. Cooley says, I have a friend who was in an Uber today. They got stopped by the police and ICE. She's out of status. Now we don't know where she is. How can we find out where she is or send a lawyer to her? So there's an ICE lookup portal. If you just type in ICE lookup portal, you can put in her information and try to find her. Sometimes it takes about 48 hours for that person to pop up in the system. That's some scary shit. Elon says, that son of a bitch. Hopefully not that Elon. This is an Elon that we like. What happens if someone slipped in undocumented from Mexico 3 years ago? Options? Not many. There's no line to get into, no fine to pay, no form to fill out. If they married a U.S. citizen, in theory, they could get status, but just being here for 3 years after entering without inspection, no bueno. All right. Let's go to Tamer. Hi, Tamer. Tamer, you're on mute.
Hi, Jim.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for all what you're doing.
Sure.
So, quick advice. So, I'm on green card. I got my green card through employment. I'm a physician. I'm supposed to apply for citizenship next year. May of 2024, last year, I made a stupid decision. Someone cut me on the highway. So I sped up trying to catch his plate number. So I was arrested for reckless driving, speeding, and wanton endangerment, which is a felony. Anyway,
What
so we
state?
managed to work. So say it again.
What state?
Kentucky.
How fast were you going?
Around 110.
Whoa,
But
shit.
my car doesn't go that fast. And it was off-duty officer, and he didn't have a speedometer. He was in his own car.
So you're going to
But
fight that?
So it's a tough court to deal with. Anyway, we managed. I pled guilty to speeding, reckless driving, and disorderly conduct second, unreasonable noise, which is a misdemeanor.
Okay.
It's non-deportable and non-admissible offense. I'm a physician. I have a lot of recommendations from my partners, from my patients. I don't know what's the best thing to do. Shall I wait for 5 years to prove good moral character? Because next year it will be 2 years from the incident. Or shall I go ahead and, of course, I'm going to hire a lawyer.
Are you thinking of applying on the 3-year rule or the 5-year rule?
5. I'm through employment.
Through employment. Okay. I would say that if you apply, they might, seeing as you're a doctor, they might give you a pass and not hold it against you. I would say if you're willing to spend the money on the lawyer and the filing fee, knowing that it's maybe 50-50 that they naturalize you, and if they don't naturalize you, I don't think it's the kind of thing they're going to hold it against you. They're just going to say you have to wait the full 5 years from the end of whatever sentence you got on the traffic stuff. I think, in normal times, I'd say your chances are 75, 80%. Right now, I'd say 50-50.
Got it. Yeah, I'm willing to take the risk. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So another thing. So when I applied for the green card, I totally forgot about speeding ticket. I promise those are the only 2 speeding tickets I had for the last 10 years. This
This thing,
incident,
you
this
forgot about
event,
this thing you forgot about this thing we're talking about, or just an earlier speeding
an
ticket?
earlier one in 2018 before I applied for my green card, and I totally forgot about it. I did not disclose it. I just remembered it recently. I did not disclose it. I didn't know even that I need to disclose a speeding ticket on my green card application, the 485. So any
Yeah.
advice, or should I wait
Yeah.
till?
So I wouldn't worry about that too much. The standard is whether, if you had admitted that would have changed the outcome or let off some or led to some more discovery on something that would have kept you from getting your green card. I don't know how an undisclosed speeding ticket that you forgot about, if you had said yes, you still would have gotten your green card.
Correct. Okay. And one more last question.
Sure.
It's in regard to my son. When he got his green card through me, he was below the age of 14, so he didn't do any fingerprinting. I was not aware of the law. Nobody told me that once he turns 14, he needs to do I-90 form and do the fingerprinting. He's 16 now.
Yeah.
I'm planning to apply for the I-90. Any issues with that? I forgot.
No, I don't think so.
So go ahead. Do I need to hire a lawyer for the I-90, or shall I do it online?
I think that's one you could do yourself.
Okay. And for the citizenship application next year, is that something your office can handle here in Kentucky?
Sure. All the time.
Okay. Awesome. Very good. I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for all what you're doing.
Thank you, Tamer.
Thank you.
Slow down out there. Be careful.
Okay, well, I learned my lesson. Thank you.
There was somebody swerving the other day. They were clearly drunk. I really wanted to follow them, but people are crazy right now. They'll just shoot you. So I understand.
No, I learned the lesson the hard way, so
Yeah.
no more speeding.
Thank you, Tamer.
Thank you. Bye.
You got it. All right, let's go back to Alex, see if he's got that audio figured out. Alex, you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, Jim?
Yes. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. So I've been following you for a little bit, or for a while, I guess. And I was able to talk to you previously. So I have my wife down in Colombia, and she has my 2 stepkids. I filed the I-130 as a legal resident, but during the process, I became an American citizen. So they pushed her case forward. We've been married since since January of 23. They moved her case over to the MVC stage now, but just in March is when I put my stepkids, since I became an American citizen, they were kicked off her application.
Right.
Is there anything that I can do to be able to speed up their processes? I don't have anywhere or anybody that we can leave them with back in Colombia.
So let's ascertain exactly where you are on your wife's case. Are you documentarily qualified?
Do you mean as far as the MVC standard?
Yes.
I have yet to file. We just got the email about 2 weeks ago. I have not moved anything until I got in touch with you.
Yeah. So I would slow walk. In answer to your question, no, you can't speed up your kid's case because you didn't file it when you filed your spouse's, and now you're a citizen. That they won't do that. That's not something they will do or honor, or even though any normal person understands what you're asking, they won't do that. So really, you're just stuck trying to slow her case down a little bit to let the kid's case catch up. So when did you file the kid's case?
Late March.
So like a month ago or 3 weeks ago.
Right. According to the webpage, it says about 16 months from.
Right.
From
so
then.
I think you're just every 4 or 5 months doing one little thing in your wife's NVC case to keep it alive. You can't let a year go by without doing anything. So you just sort of slow walk that one, and then And then as your kid's case gets closer, you can start trying to move it on a little more.
All right. Yeah, I figure so. We'll just have to do that. I do appreciate your advice and everything you do for all of us.
You got it, Alex. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Thank you very much.
See ya. All right. That's a big issue. A lot of people miss that. You got an I-130 pending for your spouse. You become a citizen and you didn't list the kid. You didn't file a separate I-130 for the kids. So when we have a green card holder sponsoring their spouse and they have kids, we have them do an I-130 right away because we're anticipating that they're going to become a citizen. All right, Mickey D in the house. Hello.
Hey, Jim. How's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well, thanks. How did everything go this morning?
Oh, great. I'll tell you all about it. So this was an F1 student who had his CVIS record terminated by the algorithm, we think. And he filed an action in federal court in D.C. We got a very kind judge who was really asking the government why this happened, and they didn't have a lot of answers. So she granted our restraining order, and she ordered the government to put our student back into active status in CVIS. So he's sitting pretty. And we're going to have a full hearing on May 5th in Washington, D.C., which I'm excited about.
Wow, that's great. That's good news.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. I got a couple questions, but I understand you. I thought I heard you say you're going to have an office in Chicago soon. Is that right?
We do. Yeah. It opened April 15th.
Oh, wow. Tax day. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I got a question. It's kind of a weird situation. I'll try and make it as short as possible for you here. But basically, I got married in 2022 to a girl that lived in Peru. I got married in Peru, went through the whole process. She had a 5-year-old son at the time, went through the 2-year process of getting them both up here. In the process of her coming up here, she kind of was like pulling away and didn't want to be married. And then she was kind of trying almost to come up here on her own. Once she got all the documents and stuff, she was going to, I'm just going to come and kind of stay with my alien relatives in New York. And I'm like, no, that's crazy. We're married, But anyway, long story short. So, it turned out, and I didn't know much about this, but it turned out that, she's by definition a sociopath. So doesn't care about, and I just learned about this really, but it's really sad how I thought I was a pretty savvy person, but I kind of fell for this hook, line, and sinker, But at the end of the day, after being here for 10 weeks, she basically ruined my life, ruined my reputation, did everything she could to leave me, stay in the country, So she left where we were here, went to another state, stayed for a couple months. I suspect she probably sold her wedding ring, this, that, and the other. My question is, I know she went back with her son to Peru in September of last year, hasn't said a word to me other than a couple texts saying she wants divorced and blah, blah, blah. My question is, she went all the way to alleging about abuse and all this stuff and making up all these crazy, crazy stories. And I've been doing some research about it, and I understand that, that what is the I-751 that you have to file jointly with your spouse in order to take off the restrictions or whatever the word is. If you do file like abuse or something like that, that you're able to like meet individually and get those lifted, or at least have some kind of a hearing or a meeting to do that. My question is, now that she's not talking to me, she's in another country, and how can I know if she has gone off on her own to do this? How would I ever know if she was able, with all her lies and all the things she did, how would I know that she had a hearing or maybe will in the future or whatever? Will I ever be able to find out if she was able to lift those restrictions? Because she's obviously not talking to me, and I know she wants to eventually come back to the United States. I suspect the reason is she just didn't have any money, couldn't find a job, it didn't work out, and she went to Peru, So that's what I'm kind of wondering about, because obviously, it's a disastrous situation, but, I'm on the hook for the 485. I think it's the 485, the sponsorship thing. It's pretty much like set in stone from what I hear. You're like, doesn't matter what happens, you got to pay for it. But from what I understand, if she leaves the country, now she's been out of the country for 7 months now. So she's back there, and I'm just wondering, like, with the time that she spent away, or, you know, because I understand if you're gone for more than 6 months, it's a real problem. After a year, they may, you know, suspect that you've abandoned your green card and all this. And I'm basically just trying to figure out the two things is, you know, is there a way that I could find out if she tried to get through this whole 751 process on her own? And the other part of the question is this reentry permit. I know, like I said, she didn't have any money when she left, but she may have sold that wedding ring, because I think it was, maybe from what I understand, $600 for that reentry permit or something. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But either way, is there any way I can know if she's filed for this reentry permit or tried to, or will in the future try to do this 751 on her own?
So I have thoughts. First one is, I'm sorry that this happened to you, and I'm sorry that you're going through this.
Thank you for saying that. It's pretty tragic. But
yeah, when you said that she sort of ruined your reputation, I figured that she was making claims of abuse. When did she arrive? When did she arrive in the United States?
Her and her son arrived here, I believe it was like the end of May 24th of last year. And then,
do you know if the green card actually arrived?
It did. It arrived. The green card came. She got the green card for her and for her son. And then her Social Security card arrived. And the day after she got her Social Security card, she left.
Wow.
So that's why, and I have no information about anything, you know, so I'm just kind of like sitting here in limbo wondering what in the world is going on, what's going to happen in the future. Is there any info I can find out now that can help me be prepared? Should I call USCIS, report something? I mean, it's a pretty messy situation. And
so let's put immigration to the side for a second. What about the divorce? Has anybody filed for divorce?
You know, I started to file for divorce because that's what she wanted originally. It's like her first message. She said, I just want a divorce. I don't love you anymore and all this stuff. And I started to do that. And then I stopped the divorce process because, you know, for religious reasons and different things, I just didn't think it was the best thing to do. So I've stopped that. So, and she was really upset about that because obviously that was one thing she could do this 751 if she was divorced. So she was really mad about that.
Right. So, but I mean, I'm not a family law attorney. I just think long term, you don't want to have her marriage going on and on with you longer than it really is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I agree. I just don't know how to do now that she's in another country, you know. I don't know, you know.
Right. So,
I mean, I got a pension for 25 years I can't even take now because I have to have her sign something just because she was here for 10 weeks. It's crazy, you know.
Mm-hmm. I would focus on getting divorced and moving on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for that, I would do that for sure. Just because I think legally long term, you don't want to be associated with, you want to be associated with her as little as possible. So if you have to get it annulled or divorced, whatever it is, I would get working on that. Because we need to think about what are the things that you can control and what are the things that you can't control. Right. And so if I'm you, one of the things I can control is I don't want to be married to her anymore and I need to clean this up. Now, I would imagine that she never really notified USCIS that she moved out the day after she got her Social Security number, right?
I don't know that either, but I imagine she probably didn't know.
And then you mentioned her possibly applying for a reentry permit. Do you know if she did?
No, but she was very, very calculated, very smart. She's like had this all planned out from the get-go and even before then. So I know she's aware of everything, that if she had to leave the country, I mean, she's just one of those smart people, you know, very, you know what I'm talking about. So I just suspect that maybe she did that. And now maybe instead of, you know, when the green card is up in the 2 years from when she came here, maybe it's 4 years and I don't know about it because she got this reentry permit or something and she's going to come back into the country.
The reentry permit doesn't affect her obligation to file the 751 next year. It sounds like she's got to file it next year.
Yeah, it would be 3 months before the 2 year period, right? Which would be like the end of May next year.
Right. So there's a fundamental shift that happens when the immigrant has their green card in hand. Once they have their green card in hand, the U.S. citizen is pretty much out of the picture and doesn't have much say in anything that happens after that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's much leverage you have. I mean, in theory, you could basically type up everything you just said and send it to USCIS. I don't know how compelling they find that kind of stuff. Sometimes they do. Mm-hmm. But her bigger problem is that she's not going to have lived with you for very long. And she she can't do a 751 from outside the country. So I don't know what her plan is. And if she applied for a reentry permit but left right after she got her Social Security card, she probably never finished up that case. She probably never got it.
From what I understand, you could receive it at the consulate in her country.
I've never heard of that. I mean, I know that's a rule, but I've never heard of that actually happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't think anybody in the government works to help someone pull that off.
Gotcha. So you're saying that being out of you can't file for this I-751 being out of the country no matter what, if you do it solely or jointly or whatever the case is?
I mean, maybe legally you can, but don't forget, this is a permanent residence card. She's not residing here. They're not going to give her jack squat if she's outside. Maybe on paper she could do it from outside the country, but I don't think that shit's going to work at all.
Mm-hmm. And the time being away from the country now, that's pressing on top of this too for her, being that it's 7 months now.
Yeah, and she's still going to have to I mean, I guess she's going to claim abuse, but if she doesn't claim abuse, she's going to have to prove that it was a real marriage, right? And she might have to prove that it was a real marriage anyway. And so with that very, very thin time together here, I think that's going to be hard to pull off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's an unfortunate situation, but so your best advice is to just, if I should decide to separate myself from her legally or by divorce, but don't worry so much about the I-751 because there's nothing I can do about it, and she technically can't do anything from outside the country.
How old are you?
I'm in my mid 50s. She's in her late 30s.
Yeah, I'm in my mid 50s too, and you got a whole lot of life left ahead of you. I would try to be forward looking and try to just leave this behind because it's taking up, I'm sure, a lot of your mental energy, and the sooner you break it off, I think, the happier you're going to be. Yeah,
that's for sure. So is there anything really, what's my biggest worry, I guess, from your perspective at this point?
Well, you raised the issue of the I-864 and that you're on the hook. I mean, there are some divorce attorneys who know how to use, I don't, because I'm not a divorce attorney, who know how to use an I-864 to demonstrate that you have to owe her support through that. But it sounds like she's just screwing around and not looking for a real American divorce anyway. So I don't think you have to worry about that. I would just get my butt to a divorce attorney. You guys can publish it in the Chicago Tribune or whatever legal newspaper up there, and then just be done with her, and then sit tight.
And they mistakenly sent her son a 10-year green card. He's 6. Is that any concern? Or
no? She'll probably just mess that up. So that's not so bad.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. I really appreciate everything, and you're a great guy for doing this. And this is like a question it's a complicated thing, to tell you in 10, 15 minutes is wonderful to get the information versus, having to deal with all sorts of time and money. So I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Mickey. Hang in there, bud. Good luck.
Thanks, bud. Talk.
Yep. See ya. All right. Let's go back over to TikTok. My parents got an RFE for adjustment of status, then they got an interview. Why? Oh, that could be lots of reasons, Godly. That could be because they overstayed, or they're suspicious, or they think they had immigrant intent. Lots of reasons. Hey, wait a minute. Sugar's got good news. I went for the interview today. I was approved on the spot for I-130 and 45. Good job, Sugar. A couple of minutes ago. How about that? Married a little over 2 years and was approved for a 10-year green card. Nice. Good job, Sugar. All right. He wasn't my lawyer, but watching his videos helped a lot. Oh, I love it. Thanks, Sugar. I'm happy for you. User 28. And we always like getting good news on here, especially when you have sad news like our friend. Mickey D. How long does it take to get the green card? My 765 just got approved on April 19th. My priority date for the 45 is February 10th. Well, that depends. It depends what kind of, is it a marriage-based green card? Depends on how busy your city is. It could be anywhere from 2 to 12 months, I would say. Hannah says, if a green card holding permanent resident is detained, what type of lawyer would they need? Well, it depends who's detaining them. CBP can do pretty much whatever they want. If it's an ICE detainer, eventually they're going to be put in the system and the lawyer could look them up, but they would need a deportation lawyer, I guess. Sonny with the follow-up. Will I get in trouble to renew my green card next March because most of the time I'm outside of the U.S.? The answer to that question, Sonny, is hell yes. You know who's in charge of the White House, right? How about this? More good news. Ricardo says, my father just passed his citizenship test and will be doing his oath soon. How about that? How about that? All right, all right. Let's go to Archie. Hello, Archie. I used to have a dog named Archie when I was a kid.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, how you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So I have a friend who came into the United States in January. He came for a business conference and relating to a company he runs back home. And he realized that, you know, there's also an opportunity to run the same type of business in the United States. He has a B1, B2 visa. He wants to apply for an L1A visa so that he could petition for work authorization by registering his business over here. Do you have any advice for that person?
Yeah, they can do it, but they sure as hell shouldn't try to change their status right here on the spot. There's a lot of work, a lot of legwork that has to go into an L1A. You can't just start a business and say, I'm getting a visa. There's no way in hell that's going to work. He's got to start up the American subsidiary. It's got to exist for a certain amount of time. It has to be cash flow positive long before he thinks about, I mean, was this person thinking of trying to do this all on this visit?
No. He's actually wondering, he wants to know that process to go through to have it set up, because the issue here is because he's on a visiting visa, if he sets something up to, if he gets something running, right, he doesn't have work authorization. So that's where he's trying to figure out how to set up the business and have it running, you know, legally without having to jeopardize his current visa.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that question. Okay, so first of all, on the corporate side, he's gonna have to talk to a corporate attorney in the state where he wants to put the company. Okay, when it comes to immigration, I would take the position that opening a U.S. branch of your foreign company and doing work towards the establishment of that branch, that's not unauthorized employment in the United States. It's if that company that he forms in the United States then starts paying him a salary, or he starts, you know, doing work regular hours, that kind of thing, right? Like, would it be better to have a partner and have someone else set it up? Yeah, probably. But I think the simple act of incorporating and starting a business and then hiring people either before or after you leave to go back to your home country, I don't think that's unauthorized work.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
Thanks, Archie. All right, that was Archie. Let's go to Pierce. Hello, Pierce.
Hello, Jim. How are you doing, Jim?
Great. How are you doing, Pierce?
I'm good. I'm here with great news. So I got back to the US with my wife on March 5th.
Nice.
Yes. So we got here. I've been trying to join the answer show, but it's always full.
I appreciate that. Can you give everyone your timeline just to give them some hope?
Okay, so I started, my priority days was April 2020.
Oh, wow.
And then she got her visa on October 7, 2024.
Wow.
So that was a long time.
Embassy consulate?
Ghana.
Wow. So 4 years, 4 years plus.
Yes.
Would you say that there were any unusual delays that were sort of explainable, or was that just straight grinding?
So her case became documentary qualified in 2022, but it was also DQ'd. Yeah, so it was current, and then later it was DQ'd, so we had to wait, and then until I became a citizen in 2024, February 21st, 2025, I became a citizen, and then I notified the NVC, and then they sped up the case. So after I became a citizen, I think she got an interview, I think 5 months later. That was in October, yes. And then she got.
And what happened when she went to the visa interview? It was
because we had evidence, because I had been with her since 2012, so we had evidence. We've been together for a long time. Yeah, so we had pictures.
They didn't give her the visa right away, right?
Excuse me?
they didn't give her the visa right away. Like, how long did she have to wait between the interview and picking up the visa?
Oh, so after that interview, I think it was about 2 weeks to pick up the visa. Yes. Yes.
So the big delay was just getting the interview itself.
Yes, that was. And then my problem is, so when we got here on March 5th this year, I already paid the immigrant fee while she was in Ghana. After her interview, I paid the immigrant fee to get the green card. So when we got here, I've been waiting, but I think it's still, when I check, it says it's in progress, but I don't know when I'm going to receive her green card. But she has her social security, so she started work. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it can be anywhere from a month to 2 or 2.5 months, I think.
Okay. Because I remember when we came here, when my dad filed for us to come here, as soon as we paid the immigrant fee,
yeah,
it was mailed to us really quick.
That's the good old days. How is she liking America?
She's liking it. She's not, now she knows it's not easy.
Yeah, back home everybody thinks everything's easy here. The money just grows on trees. And
everybody thinks it's easy. So when you send them something, you think, oh, you have money. So now she knows you have to work real hard.
Thank you, Pierce. Keep us posted, okay?
You work. So one question.
Sure.
I also had two brothers who were supposed to come. My dad filed for them to be the older ones. So we've been waiting for the appointment date. And I think 2 days ago, one of them had an appointment letter, like email. But my dad filed for them at the same time. And what baffles me is, let's say that my older brother has a case number as ACC 00017, and the other one has 00018. The one that has 18 has gotten an interview appointment, but the one with the 17 hasn't gotten. It doesn't matter.
No.
Okay.
Nope. They sure don't follow first in, first out. No way.
Okay. Perfect.
Thanks, Pierce. See you, buddy.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks for the good news. All right, we're getting good news left and right. Got some sad news, but some good news. All right, let's go to MC. Hello, MC.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I just have a hopefully quick question. Asking about a friend who submitted an I-130 for her dad, a Honduran citizen who lives in Honduras. And my friend is a U.S. citizen, a naturalized citizen for about 15 years now.
Great.
Her father came to visit on a B2 visa in November of 2024. So the I-130 had already been submitted. Her father came to visit in November, which means he has to leave here soon in May, but he would like to stay a couple more months. So they submitted a I-159, I believe. No, 529.
539.
To extend his non-immigrant visa till about June. They haven't heard anything about this yet. They haven't had any replies. And so they're wondering if it's okay. So from what we read, they've been reading online, it's okay to remain in the country if the case is pending, but I want to make sure that they know what they're doing, or should they submit an I-485?
Well, so clearly dad wants to live in the United States at some point. Otherwise, his daughter never would have filed an I-130, right?
He only did it kind of like in case of emergency kind of thing. He has a lot to go back to. So he doesn't necessarily want to live here. I should say he is receiving some medical treatment that he wants to finish. Mm-hmm. So he wants to stay here till June until he's feeling better, and then he can go home.
Oh, medical treatment here in the United States.
Yes.
Okay. So I've never really been a big fan of getting mom or dad a green card to make life easier in case of emergency, but that's especially true now that the Trump team is in the White House, right? So I think those days are numbered.
Okay.
I don't know how long they're going to let people do that, but putting that to the side, if he applies for a green card, he's going to be sort of stuck here in the United States for anywhere from 2 to 12 months. And so I have a video out there which is like, mom doesn't really want that damn green card. So then what happens? Dad's like, I need to get back, right? So once you file the green card, unless he gets advance parole, which can itself take 8 or 9 months, he's sort of stuck here for a while. So
But they already did that, right? The I-130 is that. And
no, the I-130 is just, this is my dad, I want to sponsor him for a visa, and they think he's going to consular process. But what you said, one of the options they're thinking about is filing a 485. But what I'm telling you is, if he files the 485, then he's sort of stuck here in the United States on a shelf for anywhere from 6 to 12 months.
Okay. So is his only option right now to leave and come back, to go out for like a day and then return?
Well, they'll be suspicious of that too. That's its own problem. So, does he have a multiple entry visa or a single entry visa?
He has multiple entry visa.
Do you know when it ends?
May 13th, he should be leaving.
No, I got that, but the visa stamp that he has on his passport, when does it expire?
Oh, I think he's got another 10 years on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't feel comfortable these days with people hanging out in the United States waiting for their I-539 extension of status to be granted. And the problem is, it can take longer. Like, he only asked for, let's say, 2 more months.
Mm-hmm.
It can take them 8 months to decide it. And then if they say no, then he's a visa overstay. And then technically he's not, but in their eyes he is. And so that's when he starts having trouble with CBP or getting another visa.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, there's no real right answer, other than to say, if I were him, I'd probably try to leave on time, just because the I-130 and the immigrant visa is what he's ultimately after. But
well, what if after, if he feels like he would, so the medical treatment that he's receiving right now is life or death. If he really wants to finish it, and he would probably be more comfortable with returning home in June and saying, I'm okay with never going back to the United States.
Then go for it. Yeah, for sure. If it's life-saving stuff, of course. And of course, that all justifies why he needs to stay longer. So, if you can get some supplemental medical records, if his 539 is still pending around the time he's supposed to leave, I would send that stuff to them.
He was afraid of telling them that he's receiving medical care.
Well, is he paying for it?
Yeah, he's just felt like they would say, you just want to stay here, No.
As long as he's paying his bills, coming to the United States for medical treatment is actually a good reason for a B1, B2, and it's a good reason for an extension.
Okay.
But if in any way the government's paying it, then he would have that problem.
Okay, I see. So, really, the option of like leaving, coming back, that's probably not a good idea. And waiting around for it.
If he's doing life-saving care, just stay here and take the consequences.
Okay. Well,
thanks, MC.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
See ya. All right. Chandar has a question. Jim, when can we move it to live in another state after getting our 2-year green card? You can move right away. So, all right. Let's go to Shiloh. Hello.
Hey, Jim.
How are you?
I'm good. A little bit nervous to be here.
Oh, don't be nervous. It's just me.
I've been waiting, and I'm so happy and grateful that you picked me. I'm gonna ask you a question about my friend. She's an overthinker, so I hope that you can help.
I'm married to one. I might be married to one, so it's all good.
I hope you can help me help her. So
Okay.
she came here 2018, been on a student visa ever since. She came to get her bachelor's. She got her bachelor's in 2022. She's now getting her master's. And she married a U.S. citizen last year in August, and they filed for I-30 and I-485 in November. And during that process, to get the documents, she changed her last name. So her question is it fine that she takes her work authorization, because she got a work authorization in January, to the Social Security place to change her last name? Is that going to change her F1 status? Because she told her school that she applied for the green card, and they confirmed that she's still on status on her F1. So is taking her documents to the Social Security place and the driver's license going to change her status with her F1?
No, but if she works with the EAD that she got through the marriage-based green card, that's a violation of her F1.
She's not planning on working, so she doesn't want to work until she finishes her degree in May. But she's just worried about changing her last name. Is taking it to Social Security place a violation?
No.
Okay, I have another question. Last question. Um, she's planning on started using the work authorization right after graduation. She's making the decision of just going full on with the documents from her husband during the F1. Sorry, the green card stuff, which is gonna make her lose her F1 status. Is that a good idea or not?
Well, here's what I'll say. As of February 28th, USCIS has a new rule that if you get denied your immigration benefit and you have no other status to be here, then you get sent to deportation court. So for me, I would use that as a reason to sit on my butt for a while and not work and tell my husband or spouse, you got to support me for a while because I want to maintain my F1 status until the day I get my green card. That's how I would frame it.
Okay. Okay. She just got her dream job, and they have an interview scheduled for May 27th for the green card. So she knows it's risky, but
Yeah.
for the job, it's going to be a good deal. But I guess it makes sense.
I'm just the immigration lawyer, so I just talk about
Mhm.
immigration consequences. I know that there's real life concerns that people have that are outside my jurisdiction. So whatever she
Mhm.
wants to do.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Shiloh. See ya.
Bye.
All right. Let's go back to TikTok one more time, and then we'll take one or two more calls. All right. Pink Cotton Candy asks, any changes on N400 naturalized for 18-year-old? Parents naturalized 2 weeks after the kid turned 18. Nope, kids got to do their own N400. Ali asks, if an I-45 is in process based on marriage, does someone need to maintain F1 status? Well, we just talked about that. Barbie asks, how long does it take to get my stepkids here from Jamaica? I'm a U.S. citizen. Probably about 2 years. Kevin O, I have my green card interview for marriage next month. Do you recommend me to hire a lawyer? Yes. If I were going to a green card interview, I would want to bring a lawyer. Wes says, if you have a K-1 being sent to USCIS, is it okay to apply for a B-1 visa for tourism, or would it affect the case? If you have a K-1 being sent to USCIS, is it okay to apply for a B-1 visa for tourism, or would it affect the case? No, a B-1 won't affect your K-1. The K-1 might mean that you don't get the B-1, but you won't hurt the K-1 case by filing a B-1 case. You just probably won't get the B-1. All right. Hina's telling me somebody's in the waiting room. Okay, let me see. All right, Kahuna, if you turn off your camera, I'll pull you up next. All right, Kahuna, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Jim. So we did an I-130, and actually we got in touch with you because a company tried to scam us in England when she was there and told us that they were you. That's how we met your company.
Yeah.
Saying that they could get her here or whatever. But you told us we should file a lawsuit in October if they didn't answer the I-130 in time, but we were unable to due to circumstances.
Okay.
They approved the I-130 in January, which is obviously 5 months late, but she came in February, and I don't want her to have to go back. I have a lot of health issues. We bought a house together. We've been married for 2 years. We've been together for over 20 years. And we just want to know if we can file an adjustment of status or if that could get her deported.
That's quite a question, Kahuna. Okay. So what's the date of your marriage?
February 14th, 2023.
And when did you file the I-130?
September 2023.
And when you filed the I-130, it was pointing towards England that she was going to consular process and get an immigrant visa to come to the United States.
Yes.
Okay. And then when did the I-130 get approved?
January.
Of 25.
Yeah.
When did she come to the United States?
February.
Of 25.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, side character. All right.
That's my wife. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So then you have not yet filed for a 485.
No, I'm not even sure what that is. I'm going to write that down.
For the green
We've paid all our fees too.
You paid what fees?
All of them.
When it went to the National Visa Centre, we paid the
Yeah.
fee to come.
So that shit's all gone. That has nothing to do with your 485.
Okay.
You're saying that you want your wife to stay in the United States, and instead of going back to England and consular processing, that you want her to adjust her status here in the United States.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you have someone in that scenario, they would file an I-45, which is an application to adjust status based on an approved I-130 filed by her U.S. citizen spouse. That person could also file for temporary work authorization. There's an extra fee for that. They can also file for advance parole, which means if they have some kind of sick parent or some emergency to go back to England, they could leave the United States and not lose the green card, right? The green card, the pending green card application. Probably you could skip that advance parole unless she has some reason to think she's going to have to leave. Then, as a U.S. citizen, you have to promise to support your spouse, and you have to provide tax returns for the last 3 years, and you have to sign a form called an I-864. Then the last thing is the spouse has to go get a medical exam at a USCIS civil surgeon, and they'll fill out a form called an I-693. So those are all the things that need to be filed for your spouse, and then you're going to have to be prepared to explain at her green card interview that this was not your plan. It was a plan that developed only after she was in the United States because of your health issues or whatever reasons why you changed your mind from consular processing to adjusting status.
Okay.
How long does it think that'll take?
Do you know how long that type of stuff takes?
Depending on where you live, but probably 8 to 14 months.
Okay. All right. I think that I got a lot to get going.
Good luck.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hacking.
You're welcome. All right. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Darth Vader's here. You got to go to Vader. Hello, Darth. They know I love Star Wars. Vader, are you there? Probably something with his mic. Here in St. Louis on May 4th, it's a Sunday, they're going to show the OG 3 Star Wars movies back to back. I'm so sad that I'm going to be out of town. I wish I was going to be in town. I would definitely at least go see Empire Strikes Back. All right, let's go to Mr. Twins. Hello.
Hey, Jim.
How are you?
You yourself?
Great, thank you.
I'm in a small dilemma.
Okay.
This is my situation right now.
Okay.
I came to the United States between 3 to 6 months old. I've been living my life the whole time. I'm currently an active law enforcement officer in the state of California.
Okay.
I have my Social Security, work permit. I have my real ID. And I did get approved advance parole. I came back legally in the United States of January 19th.
You had DACA?
Yeah.
Great.
And is there any options? Because I'm in limbo. Like, I've been here my whole life. I'm doing good. And another thing you should know, and I was a victim of an assault. I don't know if Visa U's, the U visa can help me, or my mom is a green card holder. She had a green card for 1 year. Or my brother's military. I mean, I don't know.
No love in the air?
Negative.
If you had asked me, Jim, should I leave on advance parole without having something on the back end? I mean, I guess it's good to have a cleaned up record.
Yeah.
But it's not, I mean, I don't see anything for you based on the facts that you said so far. I think you're just still in limbo.
Yeah.
Because you don't have status to change your status except through marriage to a U.S. citizen. That's it.
So that's my only option.
I believe so.
Oh, gosh. Dang, okay. That's scary. I don't want to get married, and I own properties, and I don't know. It's scary,
One other thing, whenever I hear about somebody who's been here since they were 6 months old, is always a false claim to citizenship. Do you have any worries about that?
What you mean? Explain.
Yeah, so a lot of times when a kid comes here at the age of 2 or 3 or 6 months, they assume that they're like everybody else and that they're a natural born citizen. So they don't know when questions come up for, say, student loans or house loans or bank loans or anything, or state IDs or time to register to vote like that, I always worry about people who've been here for a really long time, whether they ever made a false claim to citizenship, because that's a silver bullet. That's a deportable offense.
Oh, no, never.
Okay, perfect. I wish I had more for you, sir.
Okay, yeah, thank you for answering my questions.
Good luck.
I guess I'll find love. Thank you.
Fingers crossed, brother. All right. That'll do it for today's show. Hello, everybody on TikTok. Thanks for watching. Hello, everybody on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Hina, what time are you doing tomorrow? Let's see. 3 o'clock tomorrow. 3 p.m. mañana. 3 p.m. Central. That'll be episode 818. Episode 818 will be tomorrow at 3 p.m. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I enjoyed my time being with you. Try to be kind to each other, and we'll see you on tomorrow's show. Bye, everybody. I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.